I'm Ken Stevens, and I'm a second generation farm forester. I started farming here when I left school after my father bought the original farm in 1946 after the war. The property is 5 kilometres southwest of Balclutha. Originally it was 400 acres, and over a period of time the property increased in size to 1,320 acres. My father was a keen tree planter and started planting trees in back-lying gullies and places where he wanted to keep stock out of. Those trees kept on growing and eventually were milled. As I became interested, we continued planting to the extent that we're now continually harvesting. Some of the second rotation trees are 15 years old, and it has given us a steady income over the last 10 years. As well as the income from the trees, we have had considerable pleasure at watching them grow, and it has also allowed us to move off the farm, and our sons carry on farming. Since 1963 we have been able to extract all the posts for our own fencing requirements, as well as building 4 hay barns, a deer shed, and 2 decent sets of covered yards. We have continued planting low producing back-lying areas of the farm and places where we would prefer not to see young people driving vehicles of any sort, and as well as the plantations, we have had a steady program of shelter planting. One of the key things has been the fact that we have been able to move off the farm and use the income from the trees to build ourselves a house without putting financial pressure on the next generation's farming. We planted approximately 30 hectares of radiata, about 10 hectares of Douglas fir, ranging in age from 45 years down to 10 years of age, a couple of hectares of eucalypts, mainly nightens, and approximately 8 hectares of cypress. In the different blocks we've sold over the last 10 years, our return per hectare has varied from $28,000 to $42,000 net per hectare. So, and that was coming off land which was the lowest producing land, holding stock traps and producing very minimal revenue from the livestock angle. One of the reasons for a reasonable income per hectare is the fact that the trees are of good quality. The pruning has been done on time and the thinning has been done on time. Now, those things come at a cost, but because we were planting only 1 or 2 hectares, maybe 3 hectares at a time, that cost could be absorbed by farm income, and sometimes done by farm staff at a time of the year when there was less demand on labour for stock management, etc. As a rolling downland farm, to the uninitiated, it would look as if we were reducing our carrying capacity because we were planting areas and trees. However, the reverse has been the case, as we have about 12% planted in trees. But because the areas and trees are the back-lying gully areas, low productive areas, and what is planted is giving shelter to the better areas, our carrying capacity hasn't been affected. Putting extra fertiliser on or pruning the trees would get pruned ahead of the fertiliser. You can catch up on the fertiliser next year, but sometimes that means that if you don't prune on time, your log grading is reduced. And we have logging sawmills keen to buy our logs on a regular basis because they know that when they open those logs up, they're going to get a guaranteed quality. Farm forestry members are only too happy to give advice to other members, or young people in particular wanting to start. I'm pleased that my dad was keen on planting trees because it's given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people with a lot of experience, and every day you learn something. Because of our association with the local branch and opportunity to go to conferences and meet other people, our tree planting has provided us with options for the future and the immediate past with regards to retirement income. But the other side of it is the pleasing aspect of being able to drive through the farm and see the stock enjoying the benefits of physically planting the trees. And unless you get the trees in the ground, nothing will happen. The cost of planting the trees and spraying afterwards is minimal compared with the long-term benefits of the shelter.